Imagine being told a no over 30 times. Picture throwing your dreams in the trash, convinced you'll never make it. That's what happened to Stephen King. He tossed aside a manuscript, believing it was worthless. But that very book, Carrie, became a game changer. It's a powerful reminder that rejection doesn't define us. It's about resilience, about picking ourselves up and pushing forward, even when the world says we can't. Every setback is just a setup for a comeback. Never quit on your dreams. They might just be one rejection away from success. In a small rural house, with only the flicker of candlelight, a young boy escapes into the pages of horror comics and fantasy tales. Abandoned by his father at just 2, Stephen King found solace in stories, crafting his own worlds to fill the emptiness. With every word he wrote, he transformed his struggles into spine-chilling narratives. Money was tight, but imagination was limitless. In those moments, he discovered the power of storytelling, turning fear into art and loneliness into creativity. That boy would grow up to haunt our dreams, proving that even in darkness, there's a spark of light waiting to be unleashed. Every time I dropped a manuscript in the mail, I felt a mix of hope and dread. As a teenager, I sent out short stories, dreaming of that first acceptance letter. Instead, I got a wall covered in rejection slips. By my 20s, I had enough to wallpaper my entire room. But I didn't let those no's crush me. I wrote during lunch breaks, late nights, even in the laundry room of my tiny trailer. Each rejection wasn't a defeat. It was a nail on my wall of determination, reminding me that every setback was just a step closer to my dream. I remember the moment vividly. Frustrated, I tossed my manuscript into the trash. It felt like a failure, a story about a shy girl with telekinetic powers that I thought was terrible. But then, Tabitha picked it up. She saw something in it that I couldn't. "Finish it," she said, her belief igniting a spark in me. That decision changed everything. In 1974, Carrie was published. Started slow, but when the paperback rights sold for $400,000, my life transformed overnight. Sometimes, the person who believes in you the most is the one sitting right beside you. Success came fast for me. I was riding high on the waves of The Shining, Salem's Lot, and The Stand. It felt like I was living in a dream, but dreams can quickly turn into nightmares. With fame came a darkness I hadn't anticipated. The accolades, the recognition, it was intoxicating. But so was the alcohol. I found myself spiraling, drowning in a sea of my own making. I remember the late nights, the bottles piled high, the fleeting moments of clarity overshadowed by the fog of addiction. I was a prisoner in my own mind, battling demons that were far scarier than any creature I'd ever conjured on the page. My family watched helplessly as I slipped away, and in the late 1980s, they decided enough was enough. They staged an intervention. I can still hear their voices, filled with concern, love, and a desperation that cut through the haze. It was a wake-up call I desperately needed. Facing the truth was terrifying, but it was also liberating. I realized that the scariest story I'd ever lived wasn't one of haunted hotels or bloodthirsty vampires. It was my own. Choosing to rebuild my life was a daunting task. I had to confront my fears, my failures, and the very real possibility that I might lose everything I had worked for. But I also discovered resilience I didn't know I had. I began to write again, not just to escape, but to heal. Each word became a step toward recovery, a way to reclaim my narrative. I learned that success isn't just about the accolades. It's about the journey, the struggles, and the triumphs over adversity. I found strength in vulnerability, and slowly, I rebuilt my life, brick by brick. The road was long and winding, but I emerged on the other side, not just as a writer, but as a survivor. Today, I look back at those dark days with a sense of gratitude. They shaped me, taught me empathy, and gave me a deeper understanding of fear. I still write horror, but now I know that the real monsters are often the ones we create within ourselves. And facing them is the bravest thing we can do. Rejection isn't failure. Quitting is. Stephen King teaches us that discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. He writes every single day, even on holidays. Imagine that dedication. Surround yourself with believers. One voice of faith can silence 1,000 doubts. King faced countless rejections, but he never let them define him. His greatest horror? Never trying again. So, embrace the struggle, keep pushing forward, and remember, every setback is just a setup for a comeback. I remember sitting at my desk, staring at a blank page, feeling the weight of doubt pressing down on me. But then I thought of Stephen King. He faced countless rejections, yet he transformed those setbacks into fuel for his creativity. His journey taught me that every no is just a stepping stone, not a dead end. It's about resilience. Each rejection letter is an edit in my story, pushing me to refine my craft and dig deeper into my imagination. So, I throw my doubts in the trash and hold tight to my dreams. Because one idea, one story, can change everything.